Hello Stalker lovers! Many of you have requested that I make a mod pack of my Stalker Anomaly and upload it with all the mods I'm using. Well, it's finally here. I just want to say that the difference between this mod pack and others like Gamma or Escape from Pripyat is this one is more focused on visual style and graphics. It doesn't change core mechanics that much. I'm just gonna show you a few significant mods that you're gonna get in this mod pack. I've also added a list of all the mods that are included here. You can find them in the video description down below. There are a few other mods I have to mention that will affect the gameplay, and that is dynamic mutants, nocturnal mutants, and dynamic guards. So let's explain what these actually do. First one is dynamic mutants. This mod adds new mutants to the zone. Some of these mutants are piranhas, wolves, bears, mutant horse, monster boar, and of course, the most dangerous one, Wendigo. Few of those dangerous monsters will be spawned later in the game, mostly in the northern areas of the zone, so be careful going deeper in the north. The second one is nocturnal mutants. As the name says, it spawns mutants during the night. No more traveling after daytime. Nights are far more dangerous now. Mutants will often attack camps throughout the zone, so it's best to find a friendly camp where you can spend the night and have better chances of surviving. The third one is dynamic guards. Certain camps in the zone will hire veteran stalkers to guard the camp during the night to repel mutant attacks. There's also gonna be some rookie guards during the daytime, just to make sure everything's okay. Now it's time for the installation tutorial and graphics settings. I've packed the game into two files. One is the modified game and the other one is Gamedata folder that contains most of the mods I use. Both links are in the video description, so be sure to download those. After you download it, extract the anomaly first, anywhere you want. This is just an example, so I'm gonna delete this one. After that, extract the Gamedata folder. Now I'm gonna go into Anomaly's main directory. I have Anomaly installed in Downloads. These are all the files. Application data, bin, db, mods, everything is here. Now all we have to do is take this extracted Gamedata folder and put it inside the game. Like this. And basically the installation is completed. All you had to do is install the game and put this Gamedata folder inside the game's main directory. That's it, now we can start the game. Now this is very important, so listen. You have to play the game on DirectX 11. This mod pack is not designed to play on DirectX 9 or 8. Even on DirectX 10 I've had a lot of crashes, so I don't use it. Now the next setting is optional. By default, Anomaly shadow map is 2048, but you can change it. If you want more performance, you can go lower. It's gonna save some of your memory. Bigger number means using more memory, so if you're limited, if you don't have enough memory on your PC, higher numbers will load up your memory capacity really quickly, so you might experience some lagging after playing Anomaly for an hour or two. This setting affects dark areas like night, shadows, interiors. It's going to be less pixelated on higher values, at a cost of a performance, of course. Next, check this box that says prefetch sound, and another important thing is this. Check this box that says delete shader cache. You only have to do this the first time you start Anomaly. This will make sure that shaders work correctly. That's it, save the settings and we can start the game. Let's go to Advanced Video Settings and see how I keep my options enabled. Well, the first one is enabled. This is headlamps. This is disabled. Then we have rendering distance. This is very important. This can cause FPS drops. Keep it somewhere around here. Or you can activate it from inside the game when you're playing. Just use the command like this, vision distance, and set it to 0.8. Like this. It's gonna be equal to this. Next one is static object and dynamic object. These three are the most important for performance. Don't go all the way up. Keep it somewhere around here. Or from in-game just type optimize and keep it around 1. 0 is maximum, 1 is the best option. Same thing for the static, keep it at 1. If you set it to 0, you're gonna see objects really far, but that's gonna hit your FPS really hard, so keep it at 1. Now next up is rendering quality. I keep these all at max. Anti-aliasing is set to 2. These three should be enabled, no FPS hits whatsoever. Now the grass, I keep it around 80%. That's the limit that my PC can handle, anything above that is gonna drop the FPS, and below that it's gonna look like shit. Now, grass rendering distance. I keep it at 50, offers the best FPS. Although sometimes I can go 70 or maybe 80. It depends on the map, I guess. This is basically the radius in which you see the grass around the player. Now the grass size. Depends on which grass I'm using. If I'm playing with autumn textures with no leaves, I keep it at 1. Golden autumn, maybe 0.6. And aggressor around 1.2 or 1. Grass shadow. This is always enabled. Looks fantastic with this option. Lighting, pretty much on max. Active shadow on. Gloss factor. This is something you can set to your own liking. I keep it around 4. You can go higher, lower, see how it fits. If it's too glossy in the distance or when it's raining, then you can lower it. It looks better when it's a bit higher, let's say from 4 to 6. That's my personal favorite. Now, this is very important. This should be on extreme. Sun shadow quality, I don't know, for some reason when it's lower than extreme, the game looks like shit. One time I set it to high or medium and it wasn't as it used to be, so I found out that this is the option that is responsible for Anomaly looking really good. Sun rays, I keep it at volumetric. Sun ray quality is on high, this is at default. SSAO is enabled, I keep it on high. Even with a shittier graphic card you can enable this on high. Soft water has to be enabled or else it's gonna mess up the mod that gives reflections on the water. So always keep it on. Soft particles, I keep it on. Depth of field is shit in this game, so it's disabled. This is very important. Wet surfaces. After I uploaded my game, I realized I had this option disabled. So you have to go here into the options and enable it when you start playing Anomaly. Or you can enable it from the in-game using a console command. Just type wet, and you're gonna see this command here, and then just type on. Or else you're not gonna see wet surfaces when it's raining. So this here concludes the graphical options. Let's go to player. You have to enable this here, item usage animation. This is gonna enable you to use animations for drugs, healing, eating, drinking, so on. Enhance recoil. Keep this option disabled. This can mess things up with certain mods and weapons. The rest of these options can be enabled or disabled to your liking. For instance, with gas mask, I like to use raindrops, so when it's raining I can see raindrops on the screen, but you have to enable mask overlay. That's it. Now let's set up the zone options. So, because we're using dynamic mutants and nocturnal mutants, this here has to be set to 0.25. I repeat, this has to be set to 0.25, or else you're gonna have a shitload of mutants and then bad performance. Because dynamic mutants already add a lot of mutants to the zone, we don't need a life system to keep adding even more mutants. When it comes to stalkers, you can set it to wherever you want. 1, 0.75, depends on how much action you want. Now these changes will not take effect immediately. It's gonna take time until you notice the zone is populating stalkers or mutants. Offline combat. I keep this disabled. The reason is I don't want the stalkers to kill each other before I get there, so the entire area is empty. Sometimes you'll reach a new place and there's nobody there. The reason is stalkers have gotten into a fight and all you find is a bunch of dead bodies. I like action, so I want to find those bastards alive and ready for combat. Exclusion radius. This prevents spawns from spawning NPCs too close to you. So you can choose the radius around the player to prevent these unfair ambushes, as I like to call them. Next one is helicopter sounds. I always keep these enabled, and helicopter patrols. I kinda like these helicopters hovering around certain maps like Swamp or Cordon. And finally, dynamic mutants. Pay attention on this one. You have to keep these around 1000 to, let's say, 1500. That is the desired amount of mutants in the zone. If it's too much or your PC is struggling, you can lower it below 1000. If you set it to 0, then it's effectively disabled. Enable this option here. It's gonna add new mutants like wolves, bears, horses and other mutants. If you disable it, then the zone is gonna be populated by vanilla anomaly mutants. Nocturnal mutants present. This is in percentage. How much do you want them to be present during the night? If you want more dangerous nights, then keep it at 100%, or keep it at default, which is around 50-60%. Now let's look at something called MCM, which stands for Mod Configuration Menu. This right here. You can tweak and adjust certain mods in this MCM. For instance, you can adjust the volume on this jumping sound, or you can mess with these food animations, backpack animations, or you can enable crouch animation for the backpack. It's something like this. Basically, when you open the backpack, your character crouches. When you close it, he stands up. You can also enable mutant loot animation. Basically, you can skin the mutants with a knife and take some of those chunks of meat. We also have an item pickup animation. If you enable it, you can see your arm extend and pick up the objects. You can also adjust the animation pickup distance. Then we have a fire mode switcher. Here you have a few sounds that you can use when switching from single fire to automatic fire. I use the sound number 4. You can also adjust the volume of the sound. Now we have the glow stick. Here we have Brain Scorcher and Miracle Machine Tickering. Then we have glow stick throw distance. I keep it around 12. Then we have a glow stick stash chance and loot chance. Basically, you know, the chances of finding a glow stick in a loot or a stash. And you also choose a key to throw it. Let's shoot him in the face. There we go. These glow sticks really add to the atmosphere, especially in the underground. You can choose different aims, and like I said, you can throw it. You can also pick them up, and over time they fade. These glow sticks come in different colors. Oops. And the final one is Weapon Sway. You can hold your breath with a key you assign. You have different animations for swaying. It really adds to the immersion with weapons. Then you have to hold your breath with F key, something like this. Now, we're gonna talk about reshade. Basically, you're gonna load my preset. It says my name, just load it, and you're gonna see a certain amount of effects that are enabled. I keep them enabled all the time. The only things you can disable are the two options on top, which adds a depth of field in the distance. I keep it enabled because sometimes you can see those jagged lines in the distance on the trees and objects. The rest of the options, you always keep them enabled. Now, for the color. This is pretty much a vanilla color, like this yellowish tone that Anomaly has, but I go with this bluish color. I kinda like it, especially during the cloudy weather or rainy. Now, the option that you can tweak for the color is Filmic Pass. Let's find the Filmic Pass. Okay, here it is. or you can disable it and enable it. It's gonna set it up here. Don't change these options up here, just go down to the last three. This one adds the blue tone. If you set it to default, you can notice that the tone is much more warmer, something towards red or maybe a rustier look. If we move the slider to the left, we're gonna add this blue tone, which I prefer. I'll go towards something like 680. That is the value I find the best. This mod pack comes by default with autumn textures with no leaves, but I have included a few more grass options like golden autumn textures and aggressor grass. Or you can always go back to vanilla anomaly grass and textures. Personally, if I want to use green grass and textures, I use vanilla ones over aggressor. They look better and more natural. Aggressor grass doesn't look good on most maps across the zone. I'll show you a few comparison videos on grass and a tutorial on how to change files so you can use the grass you like. Now, let's show you how to use the files for the grass. First, you need to open where your game is installed. You're gonna go and open up Anomaly's main directory, which is this here. You're gonna see a bunch of folders. The one we are looking for is called DB, like this. Open it, then go to add-ons, and this is where all the textures are for autumn with no leaves. As I've said, this mod pack comes by default with these autumn textures. You have this folder here called autumn disable. Inside you're gonna find a text file that tells you how to disable or enable grass textures. Let's say we want to use golden autumn textures, and to do that we have to disable these. So just cut them and paste them inside this folder. Once they are in this folder, the game is not gonna read them on startup. This folder here has to be empty. Try not to use two grass textures at the same time. Always disable one before enabling the other one. Let's say we want to use autumn textures with no leaves again. Just go into this autumn disable and select all the files and just cut them and paste them here. There, now the game is going to use them. For instance, let's go and disable it again. Just drag all the files into this folder, like this. Now let's go back. Now we're gonna use golden autumn textures, which are located here. Like I said, DB, then mods. Inside you see this folder called disable golden autumn. Inside you see all the textures in a readme file. Just cut them and paste them here. We have a bunch of other textures here, like mesh for the mutants, new high resolution textures, blah blah blah, dynamic mutants, stuff like that. If golden textures are here, the game's gonna read them. This is only part 1 for golden textures. Now that we have this here, we're gonna have to go to Gamedata. So let's go back here, open this folder, and you're gonna see a folder called Levels. Inside you see another folder called Golden Grass Disable. Inside we have all the maps from Anomaly. Just cut them and paste them here. Now the game's gonna use golden grass textures, and it's gonna use them on all maps. If you don't want golden textures on certain maps, you can just remove some of the names. If you notice that these folders have the same name as maps inside the game, like Military, Yantar, Dead City, Zaton. Let's say if you don't want golden textures on certain maps, for instance Dead City, just select Dead City and put it inside this folder. Now that map is not going to have golden textures. It's going to have default vanilla green textures. So if we want to disable these golden textures again, just copy all these files and put them inside this disable folder. Now we still have to go to DB mods and disable these golden textures. Once this is disabled, we no longer use golden textures in the game. Now we are left with the third option for the grass, which is the aggressor grass. It's only located in the Gamedata folder. Same thing, we have to go to Levels, and there you'll find a folder called Aggressor Grass Disable. Inside we have again all the levels from the game. Just cut them and paste them here. Same thing like the previous one. If you don't like grass on certain levels, you can always remove some of these names. So now we have grass on certain levels. We still need ground textures. They're located in the texture folder. Open it. Here we have a folder called Aggressor Ground Texture Disable. Inside are all the textures from the aggressor grass. Just cut the entire folder called Detail and paste it here. So this folder goes into Gamedata Textures, like this. And that's very much it. If you want to disable it, just do the opposite. Remove this folder inside here, then go to Levels, select all the names and put them inside here. And that's it. Aggressor grass is disabled. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video and find it useful. Enjoy the Stalker Anomaly and see you around.